This story begins with a photograph. This photograph. It is giving China sleepless nights. It shows a boy about 8 years of age, wrapped in robes, greeting the Dalai Lama. And this boy is suddenly an international headliner. The world doesn't know very much about him, neither his name nor his whereabouts. But he is in the news. Is he the next Dalai Lama? There is intense speculation. The picture was taken earlier this month. The date has not been confirmed yet. One report says it was clicked on the 8th of March at a religious ceremony in Dharamshala. Dharamshala is the home of the Tibetan government in exile. A ceremony was held here earlier this month. Some 600 Tibetans were in attendance and the Dalai Lama presided over it. Here is how he introduced the boy, and I'm quoting. We have the reincarnation of Khalka Jetsun Dhampa Rinpoche of Mongolia with us today. What does that mean? He says the new Rinpoche of Mongolia. Rinpoche is the third senior-most Lama or spiritual leader of Tibetan Buddhism. And this boy is the head of the faith in Mongolia. At least that's how the Dalai Lama introduced him. So far, there were only rumors about his existence. No one had seen his face, but this ceremony has changed that. And that is why it holds deep significance. For the first time, the boy has been presented to the world. And why is he so special? He is believed to be the 10th reincarnation of Jetsun Dhampa. Jetsun Dhampa is the original spiritual head of Tibetan Buddhism in Mongolia. So this 8-year-old boy is being seen as his reincarnation. His identity is still being protected. But we do have some details, like the fact that this boy belongs to an influential family. His grandmother is a former member of parliament in Mongolia. His father is a professor of mathematics at the National University of Mongolia. His mother is the chief executive of Monpolymet. It's a giant business conglomerate in Mongolia. And it has interests in construction and mining. Now, this couple had twins, 2 boys, named Aguidai and Achiltai Altanar. I hope I've got the pronunciation right. Now, one of these 2 boys is the reincarnation of Jetsun Dhampa, the same boy who met the Dalai Lama in that picture. We don't know which one of the twins it is. We can also tell you that this boy holds dual citizenship. He is a citizen of both Mongolia and the US. He was born in America. But why is there so much secrecy around him? The reason is China. His elevation, his introduction to the world, however limited, has clear political implications. It's a challenge to China's authority, even if that authority has no moral or legal basis. China wants to have sole authority on choosing lamas. But that's not happening here. Also, Mongolia shares a border with China. In the past, Beijing has targeted Mongolians over this. It has tried to enforce its will. In 2016, the Dalai Lama made a series of visits to Mongolia. The Chinese threw a fit about it. They cancelled diplomatic meetings. They delayed loans. They shut down the border. Basically, they put so much pressure, both political and economic, that the Mongolians relented. They agreed to not host the Dalai Lama again. And so his last visit to Mongolia was in November 2016, but the Dalai Lama made the most of it. He made a big announcement then. He said Jetsun Dhampa has reincarnated in Mongolia and that a search was on to find him. This was back in 2016. Almost 7 years later, that search seems to be over. The Dalai Lama has officially anointed a successor. There is no official comment from Mongolia yet. Perhaps they do not want to upset China anymore, or they don't want to draw attention to the boy. Whatever be the reason, the silence is well advised, because history shows what China is capable of. Let me tell you what happened in 1995. That's when the Dalai Lama named the new Panchen Lama. What's the Panchen Lama? The second most important figure in the Buddhist faith. His name and identity were declared in 1995. Do you know what China did? They arrested the child and then replaced him with their own candidate. Most Tibetans reject the Chinese choice, but they don't know where the original Panchen Lama is. So this time, they're playing safe, telling followers that a successor has been chosen, but not giving away too much about him. What is China's reaction to all of this? Nothing so far, but it won't be wrong to say that Beijing is tracking this closely. It has been wary of any move by the Dalai Lama. He's the world's most famous political exile. A big thorn in Beijing's side. China wants to control Buddhism, but as long as the Dalai Lama lives, He is the undisputed leader of the faith. So China wants to wait it out and control the succession plan. But the Dalai Lama has other plans. He's identifying the next leaders and shaping the future of his faith. The boy from Mongolia may or may not be his successor, but he'll pave the way for the nomination of a successor, which brings us to the next question. Will the Dalai Lama name a successor? He says he'll decide when he turns 90. Right now, he's 87 years old. When he turns 90, he plans to decide whether he should be reincarnated, and that he would want to be reincarnated in a free country. That's what he said in the past. A free country, which could mean India. Why India? Because it's been the modern capital of Tibetan faith since 1959. That's when the Dalai Lama fled from China. With him came thousands of his followers. New Delhi gave them a home. In the beginning, the Dalai Lama had hoped that the exile would be temporary. But China's actions made it impossible to return. It tightened its grip on Tibet and Tibetans. Now it has every intention of naming the next Dalai Lama, and this has become a tense waiting game. India can play a decisive role here to ensure that Tibetans get to choose their next leader. It won't be easy, but it would be the right thing to do.